Hey everybody, and welcome back to another lecture with Coding with Roby. And in this lecture, we're going to modify our models.py file to now include address and to include the two new columns for users. And then we're going to start our new address router.py file where we're going to be creating the API that consumes the address. So really good stuff. So let's start by opening up our models.py file. And let's go to the bottom to create a new class called address. I'm going to make a couple spaces just so we can see better. So we want to say class address, and we're going to pass in base. And then underneath the class of address, we're going to say underscore underscore table name underscore underscore equals address. And then we're going to say ID equals column, and inside column, we're going to say integer, comma, primary key equals true, comma, index equals true, and then we're going to say address1 equals column of type string, address2 equals column of type string, city equals column of type string, state equals column of type string, country equals column of type string, and postal code equals column of type string. And then we want to say user underscore address equals the relationship to users and back populates to address. And now let's scroll up to our users table where we need to add two more columns. Under is active, let's type in phone number, which is of type string. And let's say address ID equals column of type integer. Foreign key is the address.id. And nullable equals true. And then right under to-dos, where we're saying is equal to the relationship of to-dos back populates to owner, we need to do the same thing with address. So we can say address equals the relationship of address and then back populates to user address. All right, and there we have it. So we have our new table or a new column of phone number, which is a type of string, and then our address ID, which is a column of integer. So if we open up our Postgres, we can see phone number is of type string or a character varying, and then address ID is of type integer. So this all looks really, really good here. All right, and now let's open up our project. And inside our routers directory, we're going to need to create a new file called address.py. We can just say right click, new Python file, and I'm going to name it address. And now inside address, we're going to need a couple of imports that we've been doing for our other applications. So let's start by saying import sys, sys, sys.path.append, and inside we're just going to use dot dot. And then let's say from typing, import optional. From fast API, let's import depends and API router. Let's import our models. Let's say from database, import engine and session local. From SQLAlchemy.orm, import session. From Pydantic, import base model. And then from .auth, import get current user and get user exception. All right, now that's quite a bit of imports we just did. Now let's say router equals API router. And in the parameters, we're going to say prefix is equal to /address. Tags is just equal to address in a list. And then responses is 404 description not found. All right. And now after this, we need to do our normal setup for our database, which is def get db. Try db equals session local. Yield db, and then finally db.close. And then under this, we want to create our Pydantic class of address. So we're going to say class address, and we are going to inherit the base model. And we're going to say address 1 is a string, address 2 is an optional string, city is a string, state is a string, country is a string, and postal code is a string. All right, so to recap what we've done thus far is we created our models.py address model. So inside here, we have our class of address, which inherits base, where we have a new table name of address. And the reason we're doing this is for when we create our actual models to save to the database. What we can notice is inside like our todos.py file, we have this models.base metadata.create all, and that creates the actual table. We don't necessarily need to add this in here because a table already exists using Alembic. But we might want to add it later on just in case it moves to a new database or something like that. But for right now, we do not need that. So we added our address.py file with all of our imports that we're going to need. We created a new router where we're still going to need to add it to our main.py file. We have our DB set up, and we have our address Pydantic model set up. So awesome stuff. This will wrap up this video, and I will see you in the next video.